Hello and welcome to Eat Sleep Go, the official Telerik podcast. I'm your host, Ed Charbonneau, and with me is my co-host, John Bristow. We got a lot of AI stuff again this week. It's just dominating the news once again.
Yep.
So starting off with some GitHub Copilot segments here. How does GitHub Copilot improve code
Well, does it?
quality?
Does it? Yes.
Does it?
Yes.
I'm assuming this is going to tell us that it does and why.
Yeah, it's a
Here's
little
what
bit
the
of a
data
puff.
says.
It is a little bit of a fluffy article. So, but if you need anything to provide, if you can't afford the $20 a month or whatever it is in your country for Copilot, and you need something to convince your boss to pay for it, this is one option. You can send him this article. Basically, it's a highlight article of what we're seeing in the GitHub is seeing in its data relative to code quality. And so there's a bunch of charts and graphs that kind of highlight the benefits and such. So I only mention this here not to try and convince you. Obviously, you'll make your decisions on whether or not you want to use Copilot or not based on your needs. But if you're looking for evidence-based, data-based articles to provide to your boss to buy you a subscription to Copilot, this might be something that pushes them over the edge. So this is kind of akin to convince your boss to go to a conference. This is convince your boss to pay for a subscription.
So we've got increased functionality. Developers are 56% greater likelihood of passing all 10 unit tests
Yeah.
indicated by the
There's no
study.
gems in this article. Let me just be clear. There's no gems in this article. It's just here's more stuff that you can put on the pile of your boss to convince him or her to buy you that subscription you're asking.
Yeah, I'm going to poke holes in this right now.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go.
It's on the GitHub blog. I use GitHub Copilot, by the way, and there are things that I do like about it, and there are things that I do not like about it. I would say it is definitely a handy tool that you should get because the benefits right now for me are outweighing the negatives, but
Good.
I got to poke holes in this. This metric, GitHub Copilot has significantly fewer code reliability errors, allowing developers to write
Readability.
readability errors, allowing developers to write 13.6% more lines of code on average. Do lines of code equate to jack squat?
Well, no.
I'm gonna quote.
If you continue reading, it says without encountering readability problems.
Still
So that
doesn't
is the qualifier that matters.
the whole
yes,
line.
right.
Anytime somebody
Yes.
quotes lines of code, like
Yes.
my inner Chris Farley,
Yes.
doesn't
Yes.
amount to jack squat.
Squad. I know. The best line of code is the one that's never written. Yes, we've all heard that. It's, for sure.
Yeah, and this is actually one of the downsides to Copilot is it will well, at least for C Sharp. I am talking inside of a small bubble. For C Sharp, this will write verbose C Sharp code that often can be refactored down to like one-liners, and it uses older, more established best practices and completely evades like anything that's modern in new syntax-wise. So yeah, it's generating 13.6% more lines of code on average, but it's probably meaningless crap that you're going to delete anyway.
I don't know if that's what they mean. This is a poorly formed sentence. What this means
it is.
What it means is that 13% more code on average is written without encountering readability problems. I don't think that means it will generate for you 13% more code, generally speaking. I think the quality of code it means is superior for that is being generated, but I could be misreading that.
Seems like a small number to haggle over to begin with. But anyway, better code quality, which
yes,
is, I guess that those are two different things,
yes.
but
yes,
kind of one and the same too. Readability improved by 3.6%. Like these are like rounding errors to me.
Yeah, this is like a meta-analysis. I mean, take this for what it's worth. I mean, again, the whole point of this article is not to convince you, the developer. Obviously, I think most developers are convinced when they see the tool, and if it helps me once in my day, that's a win because it keeps me in the flow. So I'm not trying to convince. This article is not trying to convince you. It's trying to convince your boss to buy it for you. Is my point. So.
Well, I'm pretending I'm the boss. And if I can get Copilot to come up without trying to log me in.
Oh, good.
I don't want to log in. Like, why does it always do this when I'm
It
streaming?
does. You have to.
It's like,
You
hey,
have to.
you're
Yeah.
streaming. It's time to do all your two-factor stuff, like
Yes.
right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
So yeah, I can't. I was gonna make fun of this a little bit and say, because it says all numbers were statistically significant, but what's the error margin of error where things aren't statistically significant percentage
It
wise?
depends. It
I guess
depends
it does
on
depend,
the
but
measure. So yeah,
I was gonna ask
depends on the variance that
Copilot
you see.
what that was,
Yeah.
see what they said. Um, 5% more likely to approve code. These are all very significant, like numbers to insignificant numbers, it looks like to me, but
Hey,
I'm just
hey,
glossing over it.
it's compounded over time. That's the point, right? If
Okay.
it depends on how you measure that. If it's daily, 5% improvement daily compounds pretty quick.
So do you want to throw the 5.2% numbers aside for a minute and talk about what's actually good about this thing? The ability to summarize code changes
Yes.
and create git commit messages without you having to lift a finger is absolutely worth its weight in gold.
Sure.
So you can just write code and then press a button and it's like, here's what you've changed, and it gives you an intelligent like sentence as to why you changed it, not just like line 36 was changed. It's like, you updated this feature to make the UI more responsive, you refactored code to make, you know, this section of your code more readable. You know, it knows the intent behind what you're doing as well as the code that changed, so the git commit messages are actually meaningful. That alone is a reason to give this thing a try. Not to mention, if you're somebody that has to do stand-ups, or if you're somebody that writes articles about the things you're building, like I do, those git commit messages are super handy at generating outlines for articles. So if you're doing, say, an article for your blog, or you're maybe writing documentation for the docs on your site, that type of stuff, those git commit messages on their own stand as good chunks for creating articles from, believe it or not.
I'm with you.
So, you know, especially if they're like to do like, how do I get started with X product? And then you start with a blank app and start adding the bits in and then doing commits along the way. Just take all of those commits and throw them in an article, and you've got an outline for your article. It's absolutely amazing, super productive. Like, that alone is a reason to try this thing.
Yeah,
What
my
a
big thing on this is context switching. So I know that
Mhm.
when I'm in the zone, I'm not trying to sound like a developer. I am a developer. I do write code. Um, I know that when I'm in the zone or flow, context switching, like if I'm stuck on something and having to alt tab, do a search, or figure out read the docs or whatever, getting me out of VS or VS Code or whatever IDE I'm using and into a browser context typically, or something
Mhm.
else, that disrupts all of that. And so keeping me in that, and even if it's like a little nudge, like, oh, how do I do this? I forgot. And then having to search for all that stuff. And then you get this, oh, a
Yeah.
YouTube link. Oh, let me go down this rat hole. And then like, suddenly you're watching videos about how to do storm drains, sort of thing. It's like, how did I end
Yeah.
up here? So yeah.
Yeah, there's another feature that is in that same ballpark. So instead of exiting your IDE and going to the documentation, try just opening up a clear line and doing an open comment.
Sure.
And then in the comments say, like, this is the thing that I'd like to do.
Yep.
You know, like, how do I send this message to the API? Or, what are the
Yes.
parameters for the JSON serializer?
Yes.
And actually, don't form it in a question. Just say, these are, you have to be assertive with the comment, but say, like, these are the JSON options for the JSON serializer. Then start a new line, and that next line should auto like output
Mm-hmm.
whatever that schema is, that object
Yep.
that you're trying to fill. That is an absolute time saver as well. On the flip side of that, like, when this thing, you pause for like a split second and it starts auto completing things and you're in the zone, like, it can be obnoxious and in the way. You can toggle it off, but the problem is like toggling it off means it's off when you need it as well. So there's not a happy place yet. I think they need to add a slider in there of like how long that delay should be, or maybe I mean you could always hit a command to like prompt it, but a quicker way to switch that on and off would be nice. So if anybody's listening from GitHub Copilot team, like give us those features. Maybe I'll drop
Yeah,
a
in
suggestion.
the effort of steel manning the argument for and against, obviously in the con side or against side, I've heard that some people feel like when they have Copilot enabled, they feel dumber. So they
Okay.
use it as a a sort of like a secondary parachute. They don't have to think as hard about what they're doing, and that can cause some challenges. Obviously, if especially if Copilot is generating code or suggestions that aren't in perfect alignment, you may find yourself falling asleep relative mentally when thinking of what it is you're coding. And there have been very prominent issues, nothing like public or anything, but like people have, I've seen live streams and such where people have said, hey, look at the code that's been generated here, there's a divide by zero exception waiting to happen. So those are some things that can come up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wish there was like a gas pedal for this thing though, where I could kind of like ease the throttle and say like slow
Easy
down, like
Copilot, easy, yeah.
quit suggestion, slow the suggestions down for a minute. I'm trying to type, leave me alone. And then like push the gas again when I'm ready for it to like kick in and start auto completing again. Like I'd love to have that analog like
Sure.
control over it. That would be
Sure, we
super
need
awesome.
well, if we're going to use the metaphor of Copilot, we might as well have a jump seat that would be basically the pedal, the foot pedal on Copilot for Copilot. There you go.
Maybe that's a product we need to just come out with, John. It's just like this
That's right.
gas pedal
Dead.
that
We'll call it deadhead. That's what they call. That's the term they use for pilots who fly to the next location so they can take over a plane. So, anyways.
All right. So introducing code refactoring for GitHub Copilot Chat in Visual Studio. This
Yeah.
is
So
a specific feature now.
this is kind of related, sort of, sort of, to what we were just talking about, which is what this is a feature that tells you where code is coming from. So if it's generating, so this is a feature in the extension for VS. If there's a code suggestion that's made, this will now tell you, hey, this is actually available on a public repo somewhere else. For whatever reason, right? It will tell you this because you may want to be aware that, hey, this code is, has been referenced elsewhere. And
Okay.
that can be advantageous for folks who are concerned about, you know, algorithms that maybe aren't as optimal as they could be and could be improved, etc. But just by knowing that this code was referenced from a public location and where it's located helps.
Yeah, and this, this could go along with a little like legal governance as well.
Yeah,
So
licensing,
you could
etc. Yeah,
you
yeah,
could give a little training on your folks. Like if you see this, make sure it's something that's not going to get us,
in
in
trouble.
trouble
That's right.
for copyright or anything. Check the license.txt file
Yep,
on whatever
yep,
repo that came out of. Include that license.txt file maybe in in a link there, something like
yep. You
that.
got it. Yep.
Have your own policies wrapped around what that alert means to you. I like it.
Or this code came from John Bristow. Please delete it. And that was probably the most likely.
We'll circle back on some AI stuff here again in a second. But since we're talking about Visual Studio and .NET and stuff, let's
GitHub.
tackle in
Yes.
GitHub. We'll talk about this Dependabot. First of all, what is Dependabot, John?
Dependabot is a great little utility, highly popularized by GitHub. Basically, what it will do is periodically, well, actually, not even periodically, will actually almost instantaneously generate PRs for you if and
Hmm.
when there are updates to any dependencies. So Dependabot, depends is a reference to any dependencies that you have, whether typically, and this was based originally in JavaScript, but it then grew into Go and other languages. And as recently, I think last month, GitHub updated Dependabot to support .NET. And so this article from the Visual Studio team now talks about how you can manage your .NET dependencies using this facility. So the idea is that, let's say you're using a dependency let's say you're using the Aspire libraries, for example, and one of those libraries gets updated, Dependabot will notify you and provide you the PR with the changes to global.json so that you can auto update, with your dependency references, and will notify you, hey, here's the update, etc. If you want to can check it in, go for it, that sort of thing. Now, all of this is, a lot of people just say, yep, go for it, YOLO, whatever, let's just take it and go. Obviously, you want to test these changes. That's where your test cases come involved. So for any PR, you should auto run unit tests, for example, to make sure that they'll compile. Make that part of your policy that you can't accept any PRs without a full unit test run and no errors, etc., etc. So yeah, but Dependabot's a nice little tool. Lets you know, hey, updates to your .NET libraries, amongst other things.
I need to double check on this one too. I didn't realize there was a configuration for Dependabot, and I'm
There is,
wondering
yeah.
if this works for JavaScript as well, because I have
It
a
does.
library out there where it alerts me of vulnerabilities in my JavaScript libraries that I'm using.
Right.
And those JavaScript libraries are purely for like development purposes. They're nothing that ships with the product.
Yep.
So it's like super annoying to keep getting all these requests, like
Yeah.
pull requests. Like I
Yeah,
don't care if Jest has a vulnerability. Like Jest is not shipping with my product. It is doing unit tests, and
Yes.
I'll update it when I feel like it. But right now,
Yes.
it's not a priority.
Yeah, so
So I
you can put
probably
filters
will
on
turn
it.
that off.
Yeah, you can put filters on the configs. You can also tell which branches you want to check. There's all sorts of ways you can tweak it. So, and these all integrate directly with your GitHub Actions as well. So when I was saying run your unit tests, if you're doing this with GitHub, obviously this is the way you'll go about it is just write your workflow YAML, and away you go.
OpenAI. OpenAI today announced that they have moved forward with the ChatGPT 4.0. It's 4.0, sorry, OpenAI 01 model. It's the 01 and 01 mini model are now public. So they've gone from beta to GA.
Yeah, I've been using them. They're not bad.
They're not bad. Are they worth $200 a month good? That's the question. Because that's what they're charging for Pro.
This is the Apple Pro vision of AI.
Ouch.
Vision Pro.
Oof. That stings.
Come on. Well, it's $200 a month. Come on. What do you want?
You literally pointed to the biggest tech flop of 2024.
I'm not saying it's a flop. I'm just saying it's overpriced.
By the way, that is totally my opinion of the Apple Vision Pro, that it is the most, maybe of the decade, worst product. As far,
the decade's not even over. You mean the last 10 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the last 10
it
years.
is the most tone deaf flop of a product.
Claim. That's a bold claim.
It is an absolutely most tone deaf product ever.
And, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think it is an absolute flop. And they already pulled the plug on it.
I think it was just tone deaf. I think is absolutely correct. And I think that overpriced and yes, all of the above. But not I don't know if it's a tech flop. Sorry.
You drew the line to this. I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but $200 a month
dude,
is a big ask for
US. That's a big ask.
My question is, what's the ROI on $200 a month?
Exactly.
Like, what do I need to use this for to justify $200 per month?
It's not only that; it's $200 a month, and then in light or context of what's happening in the general ecosystem around what Meta's doing, what not Google, but what Meta's doing, what others are doing. There are some really good alternatives out there.
So you're talking about like $6-7 a day. Let's call it $7 a day to use
Copilot's $20 a month.
Yeah. So $7 a day is gonna get you what? What is this solving for you at $7 a day? I mean, you have to be like in some expensive, position where your time is really
Yeah.
like
There's
costing
advanced
some.
voice, which I've yet to see. I have looked at 11 Labs, which is excellent, but that's only
Mhm.
11. That's like what, $13 a month. So
Yeah. I mean, if you're developing a new drug or like, doing if this is like somebody's, healthcare is on the line, maybe you're a doctor and you're running these, queries through the system, maybe that could be worth $200 a month easy.
the API.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But actually this isn't for the API though, is it? This is just for Chat GPT, like the tool, the online
Well, there
tool,
is an
right?
API that underpins it. So
Is that made available to you for $200 a month? I have to look and
yes, it is. I believe it is. I could be
okay.
wrong, but I believe it is. So
That would be, you know, and then I don't know if that would work with the API because they're going to charge you per token. They're not going to just let you have at it for $200 a month. That'd be insanity.
well, maybe I
I
should
don't
read
know.
the
I
article.
have to. Yeah, we should probably read more, but maybe we'll have ChatGPT summarize this for us and
Look,
then
I'm
let
an
us
I'm an
know.
idiot. All right, don't look. I need AI to tell me what to say. All right, so all right. There's your pro
They
grants right there.
they're offering grants. That's good. Adding more. So they're adding vision to this.
It's a unite. That's a very light article for $200 a month,
Yeah,
if you ask me.
that's um, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm not sure where I sit on this one yet. I gotta see what's offered for that much money. That's
Well, it
pretty
tells you in that
expensive
paragraph.
software.
It is.
What
It
other
tells you
software
right.
runs you $200 a month that
No,
is like I said, I don't think this is for the API. This is just for you to use
their model.
ChatGPT Pro.
Yes, but like their models are constantly evolving. But we're seeing actually what's interesting. I saw a paper recently where the models themselves are starting to have this sort of they're plateauing right over time, and the amount of money you're getting this law of diminishing returns happening now with AI models where um you can invest more and more and more and more and more and keep spending, but there's no huge advancements in terms of processing, etc. So it's a tough one for me.
And I am still here, by the way, even though my
I know.
video
I
just
saw the
randomly
chicken.
cut
That's
out.
fine. That's fine. We'll keep
This,
going. That's fine. No one
yeah.
wants to see your face anyway, Ed. Kidding.
So allow me just
I
one
like the chicken.
troubleshooting
Come on, I
second
like the
here.
chicken picture. So
Let's
yeah,
see.
I'm not sold on a light announcement like this, but I'll read more. This just came out, obviously, so Ed and I are probably doing this a disservice, but based on the high level perspective, you look at this as a technical person, you're like, well, I can use 11 Labs for the voice. Models are constantly evolving. ChatGPT is okay. I use Copilot, so that's a $20 a month. So what am I getting for 200 again? That's a month, 200 a month. So
Yeah,
you know,
that's a big chunk of change. Um,
you're good.
all right, so I'm back. I think I
Hey,
might have a cable issue, something that happened to me
yes.
during our live stream the other day too.
Let's ask
So
ChatGPT what the problem is. Maybe we'll
yeah, no
figure it out.
kidding. For $200 a month, it better be able to tell me. It better.
We're the worst.
Uh,
We trash like these people are working so hard. And we're trashing them, but I guess that's what you know. That's the reality of being in this world. So
well, I mean, when you start
uh,
asking people for money, that changes the equation. We're allowed to
okay,
be
fair enough.
we're allowed to
Fair
be
enough.
skeptical and to be you know to offer feedback
I'm
on
coming
what it
back to
is
my
they're
Canadian
offering.
roots. Sorry. I don't mean to make fun of. Sorry. So,
There we go. Sorry, I had lost my screen as well. All right. So, and again, when we ask for money for things, we allow other people to be critical if they're going to buy with their
fair enough.
dollars.
Fair enough.
And I'm going to open myself up to the cannon fodder now. So this was during our webinar that we just did.
Okay.
We keep talking about AI, what's a practical use for it, and all of the above. So this is something that I cooked up as a demo to get some ideas flowing for what the future of, and I
The
mean like
future.
near term future of UI components is like. So I'm going to play this. Hopefully the audio comes through. You'll let me know if
Will
you
do.
don't hear. As a matter of fact, here, let me drop my screen share for one moment, bring it back just to make sure I got all the buttons checked. I do.
Flux
And
capacitors fluxing.
make sure you can hear this. So this is something that I cooked up for demonstration purposes. To me, as a user, is there's a lot of ways to interact with this data grid. I've got menus on all of my columns that have searching, filtering capabilities. I have a drag and drop way to sort groups of items by column. There's just a lot here as a brand new user being introduced to this component. I may not know exactly how to interact with it. But what if we could just talk to it? What if we could use natural language to interact with our data grid? So let's try an example. Sort by country in ascending order.
Know who this guy thinks he is.
Okay, I just talked to it. There's a button at the top here that lets me record a message, and then that gets turned into speech to text, and then that information using natural language goes off to AI. So I'll pause it there because there's a lot more to this, but you can talk to our data grid through this experiment, and I sorted a grid just by using a grid column just by using my voice, and I go on to show some more individual features, but this is the one that really takes the cake here. 60. Let's try backing that up just a tad bit more. And of course, it didn't work the first time, so I had to do it twice. All right, it got most of it. This is AI for you. Most of it. Sometimes it, it is AI. It doesn't do exactly what I asked. It did the grouping. Let's try it one more time. Let's give it one more. Please do. Please try it one more time. Group by customer ID, then sort by city, remove the address and company name column, and only show me numbers greater than 60. So you can string together one sentence of all the things that you wish the grid could do. There we go. And there it is. So this is like, thank you. So, you got all these knobs and switches and all this stuff in front of you. And, you're presented with the cockpit to the aircraft and you don't know how to fly the thing. So you know what data you want to see. You just start asking it what you'd like to, have displayed on the grid. Maybe you're looking for a certain customer that's, spent X amount of dollars, whatever. You can just kind of query that with your voice. And what is interesting about all of this to me is, since it's based on a large language model that's interacting with this thing, is you can do this in any language. So if I am a user speaking, Spanish is my native language, I can ask it in Spanish, and it does it I tried it in like 3 different languages. Not that I know them, but I did a good old fashioned, hey, ChatGPT, how do I translate this into another language for some of these large queries? Threw them in this bar, and it got them right probably about 80% of the time. With a little bit of modification to the query, it got them right every time. So there's probably a little bit lost in translation for some of those, but it did a pretty darn good job. And this is just the experimental version of it. So something that I think is really an interesting idea for interacting with applications. You think of like the accessibility perspective of this and numerous other things.
Yep.
Usability, user experience.
I don't think you'd want me chatting with your grids, Ed. So I'd be yelling. So I said sort.
So I could talk about how cool this is all day long. The minute I start asking you for money, then feel free to kick me while I'm down.
I got it.
Like if I was like, and it's gonna be $200 a month, then you're free to like go, dude, no.
Yes.
I think it's possibly something we could see in our roadmap at some point. So we're waiting for user feedback on that one. If you have any, please send it our way. I think that a lot of money. Yeah. That about does it for our AI announcements. We'll leave the AI alone for a bit. talk about some .NET again.
Nice.
This was being shared somewhere today. I saw this, and it is a project by the Azure folks. And this is like a repo that shows you how to take on-premises apps and migrate them to the cloud. So I thought this was pretty nice. It gives you, the architecture of the sample app, the workflow on getting it containerized and pushed up to the cloud, and what the risks are and challenges and all of that. So if you're looking to move something from on-prem to cloud, I think this is a really nice resource, and you can find that up on the Azure GitHub repo. It's Azure, and then it's modern web app pattern.net. So it's an established pattern for getting your apps, your .NET apps up to the cloud. How about that? And then there are a lot of these calendar type things going along.
Everyone's going nuts.
Yeah. This is one of the longest running runs I know of. This is the C# Advent Calendar, and I try to take part in this every year. But there are now 2 articles per day published about C# or .NET, and we do this for 25 days. So you do the math, it's 50 articles that you're going to have to read by the end of the year here, by the end of the month even. But, that's a lot of great .NET content. So I'm a big fan of this one. There's always some good posts in here. Some are short and sweet, some are longer. So scan through those and try to read as many as you can. And then there's also up at the top here, so Matt Groves runs this. He added this other Advents button in the upper left-hand corner of the toolbar here. If you click on that, there are other Advent calendars. Yes. So you can get all your Advents on. And there's another one called the Blazor Holiday Calendar that's on this list, and that is by Progress Software. So this is the Blazor Advent Calendar, and this is snippets of Blazor code that you can unpack every day for the next 25 days. So maybe you want to learn about custom CSS variables in a Blazor app, or how to do text-to-speech directly from Blazor. That one's by David Pine. And we've got a bunch of stuff coming up for the remainder of the month. So if you want to check that out, you can go to telerik.com or just jump over to the C# Advent Calendar at csadvent.christmas. And you've got your whole list of items up there at the top. So that's a good one. And then ChatGPT is doing a release a day for the next 12 days. So circle back to the OpenAI website and check out their releases. And then, John, your favorite segment of the show.
Sure, absolutely.
When I talk about the latest, greatest VR and AR stuff.
Hack my face.
Hack your face.
Hack my face, yes.
So we got glasses that look like glasses again. We finally have gotten down to a size now. There's a new bar that's being set. Meta kind of came out with some stuff. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to there. Let's see if I can open this in a new tab. Maybe it'll be a little bigger. There we are. That's the tech. So very thin set of glasses. So there's an outer glass to these. So if you're like a prescription glassware, that first layer of glasses is the actual like prescription bit. And then inside on, I don't know if people can see my mouse cursor. I'm hovering over things. They can't see it now. So there's a smaller lens that is back inside of this that has the actual projection layer on it.
All right.
And if we go over to this tab, you can probably see a little better. So this is, there, you can see it really good there. You've got the outer and the inner layer there. They are way thinner, way smaller, whether you think they're ugly or pretty.
Those earpieces look really heavy, dude. Really heavy.
This is getting smaller.
This part
much smaller.
Hurts a lot, especially if these earpieces are really heavy. This hurts so much. So
these are limited in what they do. From what I can tell, it's mostly just a screen that you can look through to do video and some overlays, but it doesn't have like interactive, immersive 3D technology. Like you're not playing games and stuff on this. There's no like pinch
I hope not.
interaction and all that stuff. So it's mainly an AR overlay. So 2D windows in your 3D environment type of stuff, which I think there's some good uses for that.
Here's my opinion on all of this. Sorry.
So these are great for, if you want that extra TV or, personal television type of device. If you're doing some Xbox gaming, you want to just sit back, you don't want to take up the main TV in your living space. You want to have your own TV to yourself that, is kind of confined to your vision. It is equivalent to 147-inch screen, 50 FOV, 120 hertz refresh rate. I mean, these are pretty good numbers for something that sits on your face like a pair of glasses. It's not a big headset. Here's where things get dicey, though. They could have stopped with this. This is good metrics, right? These entice me to maybe buy something like this. This video, I don't know who did this in marketing. This is the worst AR video I've ever seen. I'll blow it up for you because I know, John, you're gonna rage at this because I'm not happy with this.
Oh,
I'm
please
like,
don't tell me the daughter is wearing them.
No, worse. Dad is. It's like, here's this
So he's
important
ignoring
moment.
his kid. Oh, good.
He's ignoring his kid. He's full on ignoring his kid.
Oh my god. Oh my. Okay.
This is on their site. This is not like SNL. This is Saturday Night Live. This is a real thing.
Tying up. Okay. There's the self-absorbed adult tying up a kid's play thing. Okay.
He's still playing with this.
Yay,
like, oh, here's this moment. He's cheering on the team.
Yeah. Barely. Don't watch your child grow up. Yay.
I have no idea what's going on here. Like, in what context is that? I'm in the back of a. I can't even talk. It's so ridiculous. I'm in the back of a.
I know.
Of a tractor doing a hayride.
Maybe this is the way that Silicon Valley sees the rest of us. They're
have
just a
no
bunch
idea.
of hicks. They're just a bunch of farmers who sit in the back of tractors. Let's give them a headset. I'm like, what?
This dude is like playing a racing game, I guess.
Yeah.
On what mobile connection? I have no idea because as a person who lives in rural Kentucky,
God,
there's no way. Like, maybe, what has he got, a Starlink in his backpack? Like, where the heck is he getting this connection from?
I don't know.
So he's just like chilling in a tractor. Is the tractor autonomous? Is he supposed to be like working and instead he's in the back?
I hope so.
Chilling out. But this kills me, dude. Somebody, wait, pause right there. Somebody thought this was a good idea to advertise that you're neglecting your child.
Your child. Don't have an emotional connection with them. Just watch the soccer.
Hey, you're throwing away this valuable moment of
They're
your
never going to be
kid.
this age again. They're
Never
gonna
again.
Be this small again, ever again. And this could be the one moment that you take to your deathbed. Nope, we got to watch the soccer.
Never again will you be able to have this moment. But
Nope.
the sports ball game is on, and we can't miss that. So let's put on our glasses and watch the game instead. Somebody thought this video was a great marketing message to the point where someone else greenlit it and said, sure, publish it on the site. Let's go. That kills me. I can't believe that is part of this. I scrolled to here and I saw that and I was like, wait a minute, what is going? Am I being pranked? Like, is it April 1st? I'm pretty sure it's December.
That's right.
So, it totally takes away from the technical accomplishment that they made. That just, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to love this and immediately got smacked in the face for trying. So it looks promising. I would like to try it. The advertising's hilarious. Hopefully this was like what is that called? The dude wipes or whatever it's called, like, the viral hilarious marketing approach.
Oh, the one wipe Charlies. Yeah, I've heard those.
Yeah, one wipe Charlies.
Yeah.
I hope that's what they're going for, because that's where it hit with me.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you on that note. I know you gotta run.
Thanks for not making my day, Ed. I appreciate it.
No,
It's gonna haunt me now.
this is how you have to start your day now. At least you can go away with the warm fuzzy feeling that you paid attention to your children when they were little and didn't, like, they could only made this one level worse if she was like in a swimming pool or something and he's just like, watching the game while she's trying to learn to swim or something. It's like, just stop. We'll see you next time on Eat Sleep Go. Take care.